What's going on, guys? I have a cool new video for you. So, listen to this real quick. Does Breath of the Wild take place in the Downfall timeline? Maybe? Let's get it right into it. So, check it out. I've been thinking about this, and I'm sure you guys have too. Where the fuck does this game take place? People saying it's after Twilight Princess because of what Zelda said and a couple other things. And most likely, yeah, it most likely is. But still, there's some things that go against it. For example, if it's in the child timeline, why is it just Ganon? Why isn't it Ganondorf? Because obviously in Twilight Princess it's Ganondorf, and in Four Swords Adventure it's Ganon, but it says in the book it's Ganondorf is resurrected, not Calamity Ganon, not Ganon. Now I want to get into why. Now that I look about it, I've made a video talking about the adult timeline, why I might be in there, and why I might be in the child timeline. And I always overlook the Downfall timeline. Not always, but more recently after the game came out, I was like, they probably didn't put it in there. But then, now that I look at it and I really think about it, it makes too much sense. Like, I was researching for this video because I was interested in Downfall timeline, and the evidence that I found is like, holy shit, that actually makes sense for it to be here. So let's get right into it. First of all, let's talk about Ganon in Breath of the Wild. It's just Calamity Ganon, it's not Ganondorf. It's a beast form. Now, I'm going to read this from Hyrule Historia, describing the beast form Ganon in the Downfall timeline that we see resurrected time and time again. It states as follows. The Demon King Ganon has been defeated countless times by heroes in the past. He is thought to have been resurrected after many years. Leading a demon army, he invades Lesser Hyrule, seeking the Triforce. Okay, that's shit we know. No longer bearing any trace of the man known as the Great Thief, Ganondorf. He opposes Link in the form of a demonic beast, befit of intelligence. Does that not describe Calamity Ganon to a T? I mean, I think it does. Also, Zelda. Princess Zelda. This is not really evidence, but it just makes sense if it really is in the Downfall timeline. Obviously, her name is Zelda, and I'm sure her mom's name was Zelda too, as she mentioned about her mom passed away and shit. But in the eras follow her tragic fate, the royal family never failed to name their daughters Zelda. So they always name their daughter Zelda. So I mean, that makes sense either way. That's not really big evidence. But this right here, I think, is big evidence. At the end of Breath of the Wild, as I show a fucking screenshot or some shit right here, Zelda literally tells Link, "Thank you, hero of Hyrule." She uses those words, and I'm like, okay, it's just like, it's not Hero of the Winds or Twilight, or like Hero of Twilight. Obviously, it's not gonna be that, even if it's in those timelines. But, and then I looked it up and shit, and the Hero of Hyrule, that name specifically, was already used. You know where that was used? In Zelda 2 Adventure of Link. That dude, he's probably not the same dude, don't get me wrong. But literally, he's named the Hero of Hyrule. And this kind of falls into my next point, to where I think this game takes place specifically. Where in the Downfall timeline, you ask? I think at the very end, after Adventure of Link. Adventure Link's right now the very, very last one of the Downfall timeline. It's the very last game. But after that, something that really stuck in my brain, I was like, holy shit, this kind of makes sense. We know that Breath of the Wild took place 10,000 years after something. And we also know from what Anuma said, that what Impa said in the trailer about Ganon is like also in the history of Hyrule, time and time again he gets resurrected, all that good shit. That would make sense for Downfall, because how many times the dude got resurrected? Like 5 times in a fucking Downfall timeline. I'm just guessing, I forget. It's a lot of times, and it's all the beast form. So it makes sense once again. But I'm gonna read this from Hyrule Historia, and this is the very end of the Downfall timeline. What it sums it up, or what it says could be coming next in this timeline. Let me just read it. The power of the gods had been restored to Hyrule after Adventure of Link through the courage of a young boy. Did generations pass full of peace and a light of prosperity? Or did the curtain rise on an age of darkness when people queried in their search for power? The future of this timeline has yet been unrevealed. Holy fucking shit! So that means there must be a future to this timeline, first of all. Second of all, holy fucking shit. I fucking believe that when they say the generations pass, full of peace and a light of prosperity, that after Adventure of Link, there must have been a big amount of time with the Sheikah, because another thing is, the Sheikah in Twilight and Child Timeline are fucking gone. There's no Sheikah. Same shit in Adult Timeline, but in Downfall Timeline, there is some Sheikah. There is like a race of Sheikah. Maybe these Sheikah, that's when they started making the technology after Adventure of Link, because they knew, shit, what if Ganon comes back again? So they made technology, and then Ganon did come back, Calamity Ganon came, and they used the technology to seal Ganon. And that was 10,000 years before Breath of the Wild. 10,000 years later, they decided to do it again in Breath of the Wild. It didn't work. 100 years later, Link wakes up from his slumber and fucking defeats Calamity Ganon. Holy shit, it makes a lot of sense. Now I want to talk about why it might not be in Child and Adult Timeline. First of all, like how I just said, I read the very end of the Downfall Timeline in Hyrule Storia. Now I'm going to read the very end of the Child Timeline, and maybe it can make place after that. Because I think wherever this place is, wherever the timeline is, it must be at the end, at least a decent way into one of the timelines. Because they said Ganon's been time and time again. So let me read for you guys the end of the Child Timeline in Hyrule Storia, and it says this. The evil sorcerer Valti had become caught and up in the cycle of Ganondorf, the thief. Ganondorf, the thief. There's no Ganondorf in Breath of the Wild. Okay. Will the light world never be free of threat of darkness? There's no light world, by the way, in Breath of the Wild. There may come a time when land will need the four swords once a fucking again. So if there's another game at the end of Child Timeline, it's probably going to be a four swords game. Now let me say the end of Adult Timeline. Here we go. The ancient realm was destroyed and the wind guided the founders of Hyrule to a new land where the kingdom set off down another path. And now it says, with the lineage of the gods not yet exhausted, who can say what successive generations will bring? The story will continue to unfold. So it's very vague. It might be there. Who the fuck knows? It kind of wouldn't really make sense. Way at the end of that, after the Great Flood? Who knows though? They could pull some shit out of their ass. Anyway, let's summarize this video up real quick and I'll end it off. The reasons why I think it might be at the very end of Downfall Timeline after Adventure of Link is because one, Adventure of Link, he's called the hero of Hyrule, and so is Breath of the Wild. Not saying they're the same person, but maybe it's because of the legacy thing. That's the people in Breath of the Wild, what they remember, hero of Hyrule. So maybe that's why Zelda used those words, for one. For two, they described in Downfall Timeline as Ganon is just a beast resurrected time and time again, and he stopped, being reincarnated as Ganondorf. Even as Zelda says the same thing in Breath of the Wild, he gave up on reincarnation. She literally said those words at the end of Breath of the Wild. That's probably why he keeps coming back time and time again in beast form. Just a mindless fucking beast. That's point 2, in my opinion. Point 3 is what it says, what I just talked about at the end of the Downfall Timeline, what they summed it up as in Hyrule Storia. It kind of fits to what could happen in Breath of the Wild, because there's an era of peace, and then Breath of the Wild should happen. So that would make sense. And then one more thing I didn't touch about, which I'm going to show on screen right fucking now from Hyrule Storia. Look at this map from Adventure of Link. I mean, it looks totally different from Breath of the Wild, don't get me wrong. But look in the right corner, the top right corner, that labyrinth looking maze thing. Now I'm going to show a picture of Breath of the Wild maze. They look kind of similar, but that's about it, guys. What do you guys fucking think? Do you guys think it's in Downfall Timeline at all? I want to know your guys' opinion. I don't care if you guys say, nah bro, it's before Skyward Sword. Literally, I don't care. I want to hear you guys' opinion, because it's really interesting to me, and it's really fun to think about these awesome things. That's about it, guys. Have a nice day or night whenever you're watching this. Edible Incredible signing out. Stay hype, my homies. Peace!